Kami, how's it going, man? How you doing? Nothing. Dirty? No R, no T. It can't be. So D. Arsh, how's it going, man? Okay, let's try to think of a word with the remaining letters. Okay? Just to get us B-O bogus. That gave me nothing. We're so cooked. 2 right letters in the right places in the second word and then nothing. Nothing. Not a hi, hello, fuck you, nothing. Dude. There's no... Double Z is crazy. Double Z and a Y. You're out of your fucking mind. Butterfly effect. Ripple effect. Judas, Snake, Traitor, Turncoat. Ripple effect, butterfly effect, domino effect, snowball effect. Print. Impression, quality, manner. Quality, manner, impression. Bench. Benchmark. Manner, quality, impression. The air around someone. Ah, that is it. Aura. Aura. Bench, printing, drill, press. Bench press, printing press, drill press, French press. I actually got all 4. I never get the 4th one. I actually got all 4. That's crazy. Cheers. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Fucking sense. Checkmate. White to move. That was nasty. That was pretty. Shit. Damn, that was. All right. Let's play a chess game and then we'll start reading. Okay. I don't know how long we're gonna read today. Honestly, we'll see. I'm honestly a bit tired from work, but we'll see. I don't know why he gave up his bishop. What the fuck was that? I don't know what plan he thought he had there. Now it's interesting. I could castle this way so that my bishop immediately has a line of sight to this. Or I castle this way because the pawn structure is not in fucking shambles. I take the bishop. Reverend Insanity is? It's not even that far, dude. Not even that far. Think about it. If I really decide to lock in, it's only like 3 or 4 months away. Not even that bad. Will I decide to lock in? I don't know. I was gonna do this, but then if he does this, it's a check, so I get fucking rolled. Oh, my king has already moved. I can't castle. Oh, who gives a fuck? Okay, now this bishop is doubly attacked. I just bring it back so it's not, no problem. Okay, lock it. Can I? I don't know, bro. Because honestly, I'm losing this fucking game after being up a bishop, so it's kind of crazy. I don't know, can I? No. I could have. Oh, I'm down so much. It's so over. Oh, it's so over. After everything, seriously? That's so cringe. Give him the pawn. I don't even know what I'm thinking. What is going on? I'm not thinking. I honestly don't know, Aaron. I don't know what happened, dude. I don't know. It was such a bad, like, I was winning and then I just completely threw it away. this is the mistake. Like, I'm winning so huge. And I just like, I'm washed. Cringe shit. Alright, no more playing chess after 8 p.m. clearly. Well, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I'm gonna try, I don't know if it's possible, I'm gonna try to get to 290. If I can, I'll feel pretty good, but I don't know if that's possible, okay? That way, weekend, easily into the 300s. We're sub 800 chapters from being done. Booth can rejoice a little bit. My enemies can cry a little bit, I don't know. Martin's butler, Faustino, didn't leave the room after guiding Lumion in. Instead, he opened his arms with a smile. "Welcome, new brother." "You're also a member of the Iron and Blood Cross Order?" Lumion was taken aback. You can't unlike Chris. It's gonna get worse. Trust me. You don't wanna. Not right now. A butler, as the master's eyes, ears, and limbs, likely knew many of Martin's secrets, so it made sense that he either promoted Faustino to be a member of the Iron and Blood Cross Order, or had a member become his butler. "Thank you," Lumion nodded. Faustino, dressed in his butler attire, went to the dining room and pulled out a chair and said, "Sit here," to Lumion. Lumion nodded and settled down. Of course, thanks to Aurora's education, he had avoided the habit of raising his arms and legs and crossing them at the edge of the dining table. Faustino himself seated. A few more brothers will come later. 15 minutes later, the rest of the Iron and Blood Cross Order's members arrived. As per Faustino's introductions, Lumion embraced each one. They were Vincent Lorraine, representing Martin in the restocked operation. Parsifal, who helped Martin manage the depot and freight company. Not in charge of specific matters, Alba seemed to operate in the dark with a hint of red in his hair. He was also an acquaintance of Lumion's, Blood Palm Black of the Savoy mob. As the manager of La Marche de Courtier de Gentlemen, he was dressed formally. Lumion had suspected that the Savoy mob had official members of the Iron and Blood Cross Order secretly monitoring the market district, but he didn't expect it to be Blood Palm Black. Lumion initially thought it might have been the Baron or Christo. Strangely, Black bore a resemblance to Martin. With Faustino and Lumion, there were now 6 members of the order present. In the past, Lumion criticized, isn't it too much for a regional mob like the Savoy mob to have 5 or 6 Beyonders? But now he found it rather unsurprising. After exchanging pleasantries, Faustino introduced, "In the ensuing ritual, the goblet will be our weapons. They can be used as cannons, red wine will be ordinary explosives, white wine potent explosives, and food will be the components, and knives and forks will be swords." Lumion listened quietly, wondering as if there was something odd about their thinking. Were they too self-aware? By the time Faustino finished speaking, Martin, now wearing his tailcoat and Iron and Blood Cross medal embedded with a ruby in his chest, entered the room. More goofy music than this? Uth, I can see you, man. What's up? He stood on the east side of the long dining table, facing the six-seated members on the west side. With a whoosh, the 5 members, excluding Lumion, stood up. Good evening, commanding officer. Rostino, Black, and the others greeted in unison. I can. Martin motioned for everyone to take their seats and smiled. We'll officially begin the ritual when the supervisor arrives. CL, let me tell you what the COI you're about to join represents. We are all members of a secretive organization with a history spanning centuries. It's known as the Iron and Blood Cross Order. Lumion didn't show any intentional surprise or dismay. After all, the name sounded rather ordinary. Albus, the young man with the dark red hair sitting at the edge of the table, seemed about to speak, but Martin shot him a glance. Nearly 300 years ago, a few influential figures established the order. They believed that deities were merely powerful beyonders, but no matter how you look at it, even the weakest beyonder is fundamentally different from the ordinary person. Our philosophy is that regardless of how one obtains their powers, they should be recognized and treated with a status above the ordinary. However, the churches and government only acknowledge the beyonders they nurture. They also insist that powers should be concealed. This goes against our nature in the course of history. This must mean that we must oppose the government and the churches, but there's no need to fear. We possess significant strength and demigods. In the future, if the churches are willing to accept wild beyonders and acknowledge their status, we may cooperate with them. In other words, the ultimate goal is to overthrow the government and establish a country where beyonders hold positions at all levels. Martin glanced at the 6 members seated opposite and smiled. Our order's strength is mainly concentrated in Intes, with over a third of our members based in Trier. As you can see, we have many powerful brothers in the market district alone. Even more beyonders are under our control. I am the commanding officer, responsible for leading you and handling various matters. Above me are several branch presidents, referred to as deputy brigadier commanders. Each is a true and powerful demigod. Above them is our president, known as a brigadier commander. Below me are NCOs. When we have more than 10 brothers in the market district, I'll appoint 2 NCOs to assist me in management. Is this some kind of a fucking military game? Martin turned his gaze to the others. Apart from that, we also have many supervisors. Each act independently and patrol the area under the jurisdiction of different COs. In the future, if anything happens to me or I exhibit abnormalities, you must find the supervisor immediately and report to him. Similarly, if you discover that the supervisor has done something abnormal, inform me. Copyright free soldiers. Perplexed, Lumion followed CL. Allow me to introduce you to Olsen, the supervisor of the market district. Lumion followed Martin's finger and looked at the door. In the next moment, a tall, thin man appeared. The man had short auburn hair, reddish-brown eyes, thick eyebrows. It was the traitor Christo and Simon had encountered underground. Lumion vividly remembered that he had been nothing but a head and a blood-stained spine. He had been pursued by another headless monster, both of which were extremely dangerous, yet here he was. Lumion couldn't help but glance at him, noticing his fair skin and the small suitcase he carried. Was it a body again? He began to suspect that the 2 monsters they had encountered were illusions created by Olsen. Since the transaction had been a test, it wasn't surprising that the monster was fake. But wasn't it so realistic, Lumion thought? Martin and Olsen each grabbed a goblet and addressed everyone. Load the explosives! Albus, Parsifal, and the other members placed a goblet in front of them and poured red wine. That's how you load explosives, Lumion thought. After refilling the cannons with explosives, he called out, "Attention! Port arms!" Everyone then stood up and placed their right hand on the goblet. "Present arms," Martin said. In unison, they raised the goblet to his chest. Lumion marveled and followed suit, imitating the actions of the others. What the actual fuck is happening here? Martin observed the Iron and Blood Cross Order sitting opposite from him and nodded. Aim! At this command, the others raised their goblets to their lips. That's what aiming means? He'd grasped the essence of the ritual and understood. Just then, Martin issued a new order. Fire! Everyone downed a third of the glass in their goblets. Fire! Martin called out again. Lumion lifted his head slightly and downed another third of the wine. Attack! He continued. They finished the remaining wine. Ground arms! Martin said. As he spoke, he raised the goblet above his eye, pressed it against his forehead, and then placed it back on the dining table. Everyone followed suit. War! 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 They shouted together. This is so cringe. As they shouted in unison, Lumion felt a subtle shift in the room's atmosphere, as if it had filled with enthusiasm. The atmosphere infected the other members, connecting their hearts and minds. Even without being influenced by the abnormality, Lumion couldn't help but feel affected by the environment. He had previously criticized the initiation ritual of the Order for lacking mystique and not living up to the title, but now it was merely different in quality from the Aurora Order. Besides, the more mystical part was the vigil. Martin gestured with his right hand, prompting Faustino, Albus, and the others to fall silent. Let us welcome our new brother, Lumion. This time, they used Lumion's real name. The Iron and Blood Cross Order members, including Olsen, applauded one after another. Lumion stood up, poured himself a goblet of wine, and downed it in a single gulp. Very good. We are all brothers. There is no need to stand on ceremony, Martin said. I've already explained the history and philosophy of our order. Now let us talk about what we wish to do. The most important thing we've been working to is to overthrow the government, establish a country ruled by Beyonders, and transform this world. For this, we've been plotting and experimenting, establishing multiple branches to prepare. Specifically for me, I'll use companies and mobs to control the dock workers, construction workers, porters, handymen, and laborers. When necessary, I'll take them to the streets and use barricades to fight the police and army. Isn't it said that Beyonders are different from ordinary people? So why are we using workers? Lumion thought. Martin grinned, very perceptive. He noticed an important problem. Before this, only Albus suggested it. Everyone else naturally accepted. First, you need to understand, why did those deities establish churches and spread their teachings? You probably don't buy the words God loves the world. If they truly did, the market district wouldn't be like this and Intes wouldn't have so many tramps. We reckon that deities require believers, and we've proven this over the centuries. The more common folk we influence, the greater our resources to strike fear into the hearts of the EBS Church. This will weaken their support from the government and boost our chances. Eventually, it'll become a crucial bargaining chip for them to agree to us, if not support us. If we aim to control more workers and citizens, we need the government and National Convention to cooperate. I've always known what kind of person Hugh Artois is and the forces behind, but I still bid for his support. I knew he'd create plenty of chaos, being associated with the National Convention and government. The worse he performed, the more people would come to our side. Unfortunately, the idiot died just a couple of days after being elected. Without Martin's personal explanation and proper understanding, Lumion couldn't possibly fathom their true intentions of supporting Hugh Artois. Hence, Martin continued, we've placed great importance on docks, depots, warehouses, freight companies, and construction firms. The mob's purpose is to interact with various individuals and gather crucial information, all while contributing to the organization's funds. Mobs also serve as a vital tool to control the ordinary people. Look at Albus. Oh wait, no wonder he poured so many resources into the mob. Lumion glanced around at Blood Glove Black and inwardly mocked at him for acting better than himself. After Lumion nodded, Martin took a sip of the wine and said, one more thing we're doing is exploring the underground to find the entrance to the Fourth Epoch Trier. Lumion couldn't help but glance at Olsen, the lanky man looking like a hungry bear. Lumion scanned Olsen's neck several times, but there was no sign of sutures. Could it be that the state of only having his head and spine is just an illusion? Either Olsen has a deep understanding of the unforeseen events in Bansi Harbor, or he encountered similar monsters elsewhere. This is in line with the legend of Bansi Harbor. Even if it's an illusion, it can't be something he imagined. Madam Magician said most of his words are likely true, even suspecting that he disappeared for a few months before returning. What did he encounter? Why search for the Fourth Epoch Trier? Lumion asked. To other Beyonders, it is a hell, an abyss, a calamity they cannot approach, but to Hunters, it is a treasure trove. Our order is dominated by Beyonders of the Hunter pathway. I don't know how much you know of the history of the Fourth Epoch, but I can tell you that in that era, deities walked the earth and angels often appeared, known as the Age of Gods. In the northern continent, there were 3 powerful countries. One was the Tudor Empire, and its capital, Trier, had sunk. The Tudor Empire's emperor, Elisa Tudor, was known as the Blood Emperor, a true deity controlling our pathway, who perished in the Battle of the Gods. His remains are there. Tudor's remains? Lumion recalled some of the contents of Aurora's grimoire. Aurora didn't delve deep into the Fourth Epoch and only had a rough understanding, mentioning the Solomon Empire, the Truanst Empire, the Tudor Empire, and the Blood Emperor, the Night Emperor, and the Emperor of the Underworld, and the War of the Four Emperors. Maxim. Oh, he's gonna figure out some basic stuff about his Pyromaniac potion. The Blood Emperor's remains. The remains of a deity? Does it hold a characteristic of a sequence 0? No wonder. What's that got to do with me? As a sequence 7, I don't even dare think about becoming a demigod. Besides, Madam Magician warned me that such items always come with negative effects. Lumion, with vast knowledge of high-end mysticism, remained unfazed by Martin's provocation. If Fourth Epoch Trier truly contains the remains of the Emperor, why didn't EBS and God of Steam Machinery take it away? Even if only Hunters can enter safely, it's been a matter of time before they nurture a high-sequence Hunter with the resources they have. The other factions are restraining them, Martin said. They won't be a problem for us. I'll tell you all the details once we find the entrance. Isn't that just saying, I don't know why, but we have to try? What an idiot. Can't possibly tell us that there are dangers that even deities can't resolve. Who would dare go underground when they're not seriously corrupted? This makes sense. Compared to the members of the Order here, him having a rough understanding of the underground situation, and having seen the invisible Sea of Fire, the Tree of Shadow, and the bizarre catacombs made him qualified to be their superior. Of course, they had no idea. He had no idea how well Commanding Officer Martin and Olsen knew of such situations. Is there anything you need these days? Martin said. I'm in need of a mystical item with peculiar properties to compensate for my deficiencies. And if there's no relevant item available, perhaps you can provide me with the corresponding ingredients. I'll try to find an artisan to craft them. He almost mentioned the term characteristic, but changed it to ingredients with a pause. Though people often spoke of characteristics, they often referred to the fusion of 2 main potion ingredients. Of course, some people had long discovered that Beyonders were also Beyonder creatures, capable of producing ingredients for concoctions, hinting at the law of characteristic indestructibility. You dare ask? Albus mocked. Even Persephone and Vincent and the others wore strange expressions. None had dared to make such a bold request when entering. Why not? Lumion sneered back. It's not like I'm a piece of trash you can't handle a reward. What the organization gives me today, I'll repay tenfold. Enough, Martin intervened. As the COI, I must be fair. I can't grant you an item right now, as others will protest. But do not worry, we're not stingy. Once you complete a few missions and earn enough merits, I will give you an item of your choosing. Meanwhile, before each mission, suitable items will be temporarily provided to the member, ensuring their safety and completion. Lumion nodded. I'll inform Renee that the advance you received was my reward to you. You'll still get your share from Sol de Barbary in the future, Martin said. DJ, how's it going, man? Holy shit, long time no see. Thank you, Mr. CO, Lumion said. This meant that the membership door gift was 12,000 Vril d'Or. Hence, most of the money he had spent on advancing came from the Aurora Order and the Iron and Blood Cross Order's financing. Truly generous. Any other questions? Martin asked. How quickly can I master the Pyromaniac potion? An excellent question, Martin said. To master a potion, you must start with its name. Get close to it, understand it, embody it. I have to tell you a maxim. Flames can both incinerate others and harm yourself. The Iron and Blood Cross Order kept a precise interpretation of the acting method from ordinary members, using vague descriptions, warnings, and maxims to guide. Got married? Holy shit, dude. Congratulations. What the fuck? Holy shit, that's awesome, man. No shit. This approach allowed ordinary members to avoid certain risks when gradually gaining insight by sticking close to the potion's name. They could speed up their process but couldn't fully grasp a more suitable acting principle. In other words, it was easier for them to master the potion than wild beyonders, but other than the talented ones, those who stuck close to the acting requirements couldn't compare to those who knew the acting method. Lumion suspected that he would only learn the entire method once he became an NCO and gained greater attention. Finally a baddie in my life? Well, clearly, I assume she's been in your life for a while if you're fucking married, bro. Unless you're trying to tell me you did some damn founder yesterday. Damn, I'm not doing any better than this. We're getting married tomorrow. In contrast, Madam Magician of the Tarot Club had already given him high-end mysticism knowledge, including the acting method. As for Mr. K, Lumion was unsure if he had forgotten to teach him due to devotion to his prayers or work, or if he believed Lumion would naturally encounter it at the Iron and Blood Cross Order. Pyromaniac is all about setting fires. Just go to the National Convention building and set it aflame. You'll master it in no time, Albus taunted. I'm a pyromaniac, not an arsonist. Meaningless acts of arson will only harm myself. How do you know it's meaningless? Burning is the meaning. Why don't I burn you? Lumion clicked his tongue. After engaging each other for a while, Martin intervened. I went to the catacombs some time ago and sensed something amiss, but I couldn't figure out what it was. CO, sir, do you know anything about it? That has nothing to do with us. You need not worry. All I can say is that the dangers lurking there are as serious as those in the Fourth Epoch Trier. Lumion nodded. During the process, he noticed that Vincent remained quiet, and Persephone and Blood Palm Black were amiable, but guarded with their words, revealing very little of themselves. But I sure defeated him in romance. Let's go. All right, we got him in one place, DJ. All right, we got him in one place. By 10 p.m., the initiation had concluded, and Lumion was the last to leave. As the carriage moved, Lumion's heart skipped a beat as he looked to the seat opposite him. Another person had joined him. Supervisor Olsen. Ugh. DJ, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Ryan had 3 pirate admirals, but he didn't get married to any of them. What is RE9? I don't know. Ignoring Lumion's tense state, Olsen spoke. As per tradition, I must speak to you in private as your supervisor. About? If you discover anything suspicious about your CO, report them to me immediately. How would I contact you? Lumion asked. Leave the information in the basement of 13 Avenue de Marche, Resident Evil 9, I see. The Iron and Blood Cross Order is indeed linked to the burned down building. Olsen may have entered 4th Epoch Trier and likely is seriously corrupted. Does he have a way to exploit the anomaly there? Lumion thought. He suspected Olsen was secretly monitoring him. Combined with the burning of 13 Avenue de Marche over a decade ago, Mr. K had mentioned that the Iron and Blood Cross Order had drifted from the other organizations that believed in that entity in recent years. Believing that 13 Avenue de Marche hadn't been burned down by the Iron and Blood Cross Order, but they had subsequently discovered the secret there and suffered the corruption. Alright, Lumion nodded. As his mind raced, he turned to Supervisor Olsen. Was the traitor I saw in the mines really you? Can your head leave your body and survive autonomously? Or was that an illusion? Olsen chuckled. Coincidentally, I have 3 things to tell you. First, what the eyes see may not be true. Second, we will eventually enter the 4th Epoch's Trier. It is an inevitability. And third, do not trust in the words of others. Interesting. So should I trust you? Lumion thought. Seeing Olsen pick up a small brown suitcase again, he couldn't help but ask, "What's in there? Why do you keep carrying it?" "If I were you, I would pray I never find out," Olsen smiled. With that, Olsen opened the carriage door and leapt into the darkness, disappearing instantly. Acting all fucking mysterious, Lumion muttered. Taking the carriage back to the market district, he resisted the urge to hurry back to the motel or safe house to contact Madame Magician. Instead, he made his way to the dance hall. His concern grew as he suspected that the treacherous members of the Order may be taking advantage of his relaxed state for final surveillance. Although they couldn't locate Madame Magician's messenger, Lumion knew better than to return to room 207. It would surely raise suspicion. Taking a seat at the bar counter, he ordered a glass of Kirsch. As he savored the drink, he immersed himself in the song and dance happening. Jenna had the night off, and the other performers were 2 showy divas. Hills District, outside the Deep Valley Cloister. Jenna regarded Franca. "What are we doing tonight? Don't tell me you're thinking of infiltrating the cloister." "Of course not," Franca said. "The cloister is one of the most well-known cloisters. The Deep Valley Cloister is one of the most well-known cloisters of the Church of God of Steam and Machinery. They have powerful beyonders and hide mysterious artifacts. With our abilities, we'll be walking into a trap, or worse." She had heard rumors that the monks in the cloister were focused on steam and machinery and didn't marry or have children. But it didn't mean they refrained from having sex. The Church of God of Steam and Machinery didn't prohibit such things. Some said that some monks would seek out street girls occasionally to relax. There were still a large number of people who had mechanical fetishes or undergoing ascetic training. Of course, Trierans tended to exaggerate and embellish these rumors with their own ideas. Franca believed that some monks may have some inclinations, but they were not likely the majority. Nonetheless, infiltrating a cloister as a wild beyonder was dangerous. They could accidentally be killed by machinery. In short, whether male or female, anyone below Sequence 4 ought to forget about infiltrating the cloister. We scoured the area today but found no clues, but there's one place we haven't checked. The quarry, Jenna thought? That's right. Today, we'll infiltrate there and make a search. Okay. Before we infiltrate, there's some work to be done, Franca said. For assassins, it's about familiarizing ourselves with the environment and gathering info. With that, Franca took out a palm-sized mirror. Jenna immediately focused. She had been long intrigued by the mirror-related abilities of witches. Previously, after she had assassinated Hugh Artois and fled, Franca heard that she had left blood at the scene. Franca swiftly used mirror substitution to sever the connection between Jenna's true self and the blood. When you become a witch, you'll master mirror divination and staff divination. Learning other methods also comes easy to us. The key to successful magic mirror divination is choosing the right entity to pray to. Why is my fucking nose so itchy? The mystical symbol of the mirror connects you to the unknown being, and their answer can be obtained through this connection. But if the unknown entity holds malice or is in a state of madness, they may influence the divination. When the time comes, I'll give you a few relatively safe ones to choose from. These have been verified. Among them, the most accurate divination results will require you to pay a price. Unless the matter is urgent, I avoid praying to him generally. What price? The price could lead you to experiencing social embarrassment, or something not as severe, but it will be uncomfortable. She recalled the first time she prayed to that entity in front of Madame Judgment and was asked, "When you're masturbating, do you occasionally fantasize about certain men and feel tempted to try new experiences?" Eridus, my girl! That question made her shatter the mirror. At the same time, she had recently become a witch and still identified as a man. Even though her body had transformed, it was natural she would occasionally fantasize. This made her feel guilty and ashamed. Even now, Franca couldn't help but cringe at the memory. Franca believed that this incident had affected her when she subsequently approached Martin to give it a shot. This caused a crack in her psychological defenses and made her give up. Social death. Jenna understood the implication of Franca's words. Franca provided a brief explanation of magic mirror divination, concluding with a demonstration. Gently caressing the surface of the mirror and speaking, "Will exploring Trier's Deep Valley Quarry be dangerous?" There will be a certain level of danger, they saw. No, I'm so tired. And I will say, we started at, I think, 3 today? 283? Maybe we start at 284. 283. 4 chapters in, like 30 minutes? I feel like chapters are smaller in COI, or maybe I'm just getting better. I don't know. I am sleepy. Franca finished the divination and turned to Jenna. "Normally this means it's dangerous, but we can handle it. We should be fine if we're careful." "I thought the divination results would be straightforward," Jenna said. "It is. Once you visit the Divination Club in Quartier de la Cathédrale Commémorative and find amateurs, their readings will be even more vague." "Have you never had anyone do a divination on you?" Jenna nodded. Performing a divination cost a fortune. You can subscribe to Psychic, Lotus, Arcane, and Hidden Veil. While they have their problems, they offer basic knowledge. Right. CL often buys those. You can, I'll help you borrow them. Okay, Jenna said. After obtaining a satisfactory answer, the duo, who had observed the route and surroundings, swiftly entered the quarry. The gatekeeper, who seemed to be in his 40s, was sleeping in a small hut made of rocks, wrapped in a dirty, old, thin felt cloth. Suddenly, a slender, smooth palm reached out from the shadow beside him and covered his mouth with a handkerchief. The gatekeeper didn't struggle, and within seconds he went from slumbering to unconscious. "The Bliss Society sedative is quite effective," Franca said. "Couldn't we just knock him out?" Jenna said. "That would work, but that would leave traces. It won't be easy to make it seem like he's asleep. Many bounty hunters and private detectives are involved. We shouldn't be the only one targeting the quarry, so it's better to be cautious." Jenna understood. "You're worried that the bounty hunters will have ill intentions if they find us entering the quarry ahead of them?" "That's right. Many bounty hunters and detectives switch to becoming bandits and robbers depending on the situation. They take risks for money, not justice. Since there's no lead in this mission, it's in line with their style to steal from their peers and eliminate competition. Of course, with our strength, we don't really have to worry, but what if we made a similar mistake in another situation? It's better to be mindful." Jenna nodded, slowly agreeing. Did you want me to knock him out to get back at him for calling you a prostitute?" "You think I'm so fucking petty?" Jenna said. Whether it was during her years helping her mother with chores when she was a local singer, she had been asked if she wanted to be a street girl so many times she was used to it. "When you use that sedative on others, it reminds me of what happened to me," she said. "I understand your feelings," Franca acknowledged, "but since you've embarked on this journey of the divine and intend to become stronger, you will have to use various means to deal with your enemies. You can't give up on a better option because you're repulsed." "Can't it be honor and lead a quiet, ordinary life?" Jenna said. "In the past, maybe, but now it's quite difficult." "The more you advance, the harder it gets until it's virtually impossible." Could it be possible in the future, I wonder? "That prominent figure once told me that such a life may be attainable at the end of the fifth epoch and the beginning of the sixth, if there is a sixth at all. I guess it's just wishful thinking on my part. Achieving that kind of life is simply an illusion." "At least it is for me. With powers and history of attempted assassinations, I don't know if I'd be able to idly sit by with my friends and family. If they faced hardship, I'd feel compelled to use my ability to just fix the problem. It's just the way it is." "There's just one door," Franca said. "Why is there so many fucking keys that gatekeeper has? For his house? That doesn't make any sense." She tried each key one after another, in the end muttering, "None of it's right." "None of them?" Jenna said. "Perhaps this set of keys is a decoy. The real one must be hidden. Search the area." Jenna didn't object, and with her night vision she began searching near the bushes and crevices. Franca squatted down near the gatekeeper and searched his body. When she reached his crotch, she bent down and flicked it firmly, sneering. "Jenna may not be petty, but I am." Jesus. After their search, the two of them met at the wooden door, shaking their head. "Something wrong with this query," Franca said. "This guy is truly a gatekeeper, meant to watch the door, but even lacks the ability to open it." "Are we still going in?" Jen asked. "I'll give it a shot," Franca said, extending her right hand to the copper lock. Frost emerged from her palm, filling the keyhole. The frost continued to accumulate and compress until it solidified into ice. Jenna skillfully extracted the ice block, revealing a key. That fucking works. "I have a friend, you see. I really do. One who's skilled at picking locks. We had a conversation about using my power for such purposes." With a click, the heavy wooden door swung open. Before venturing into the quarry, the witch hung the brass key on the gatekeeper's waist and adjusted his posture to make it look like he was asleep. With that, Franca fetched a pouch of coins and took out a thick silver ring. "This is the ring of punishment I mentioned earlier. You'll wear it today. I've explained how to use it and its taboos. Remember, don't use it more than 3 times in an hour, and take it off as soon as we're done." "Okay," Jenna said. Franca couldn't contain her inexplicable joy as she adjusted her hood and stepped in. Once Jenna joined her side, they made sure to close and lock the door behind. This made it nearly impossible for anyone outside to detect their presence within the quarry. As skilled assassins with night vision. $1. Zaza, how's it going, man? The passageway was in a state of despair, covered in moss with cracks running everywhere. A short distance ahead, they noticed an empty hole, no different from the other underground ones they had seen before. For almost a half hour, Jenna and Franca diligently searched, but yielded no results. "Something's not right," Franca uttered. The complete absence of anything unusual made them feel even more suspicious. Jenna pondered and said maybe the gatekeeper's afraid that someone may storm in and cause the mine to collapse, so he decided to keep the key away. Before they could say something else, they heard a distinct click, the sound of the door opening. "Thank you, Kami." As the door creaked open, a soft bluish glow of a carbide lamp spilled out. Jenna and Franca peeked out and caught a sight of a man in a grey robe. The man had a white apron wrapped around his waist, a garment worn by ancient stonemasons. Such attire was associated with ascetic monks. Holding a lamp, the monk had dark short hair. His left eye was a mesmerizing combination of iron, grey gears, screws, and springs, supporting an emerald, crystalline false eye. Alright, let's try to do like 2 more chapters, then we'll call it. In the city of Trier, the prosthetic eye were not a common sight, but there were still a fair number of people who wore them. But they had never seen anyone with who'd take a mechanizing a quarter of their face for an eye to this extent. Moreover, they recalled that the monk was suspected to be from the Church of God of Steam and Machinery. It made sense. Carrying a lamp and wearing an apron, the monk entered the tunnel step by step, his eye scanning the area. Franca tugged at Jenna, signaling for her not to look. She was to quickly avert her gaze and avoid detection. The two of them slunk deeper into the shadows. The monk advanced slowly, surveying the surroundings as he reached the bottom of the quarry. Thanks to their abilities in the cover of darkness, they remained undetected. They waited until the monk was far away before peeking out from their hiding spot. The monk stopped before the collapse area, extending his right palm, which glinted with an iron-like metallic sheen. A grinding sound echoed as if multiple gears were slowly rotating and meshing. The wall cracked open as metal chains extended from behind the rock. With the help of the monk's carbide lamp and the eagle-eyed assassin vision, Franca and Jenna could see a thin white fog inside the cave, and arms and legs embedded in the wall. Human arms and legs. Some were fresh while others shriveled, but there were no signs of decay. As the monk entered the cave and triggered a mechanism, the chains relaxed, allowing the rocks to turn to their original position, leaving only a faint crack. Hell yeah. Trier, I never expected you to be anything but just absolutely cooked. You don't disappoint. Jenna nodded slow, having let so that's how it is. I assume the cracks were from a collapse, so I didn't inspect them, Franca realized. She tugged at Jenna's arm and said, "Let's get out of here first and come back later." Having discovered the secret and knowing how to open it, there was no need to confront the monk now. They could return later. Jenna nodded, twirled the ring of punishment on her finger and crouched down, following Franca from their hiding spot back to the tunnel. Seeing Jenna about to open the door, Franca stopped her. "No, hurry." "Why?" Jenna said. "Because one monk went in doesn't mean he's alone. Perhaps there are companions, guarding. If we stroll out, we may expose ourselves, and the gatekeeper could be awake." "Oh, it's just experience. You'll know better in the future," Franca said. "Help me carry this," she said, taking out a palm-sized mirror and giving it to Jenna. "I'll scout ahead. If I get ambushed, take the chance to hide in the shadows and sneak out with the mirror." Realizing Franca intended to use the mirror's substitution, Jenna agreed. Franca opened the door carefully and peeked out. The only sounds were frogs and insects. Otherwise, all was still. The door opened wider and Franca slipped out. Jenna gripped the mirror tensely. After more than 10 seconds, Franca returned. "It's clear. Let's go." Jenna exhaled and darted out, closing the door behind them. As they left the quarry, they glanced at the rock-walled hut and saw the gatekeeper, still asleep. He was knocked out, not drugged. Franca noticed a red swollen mark under his ear. The one inside did it? Likely. He doesn't want the gatekeeper to know he's here. Poor man. Probably fainted again before the sedative wore off. He got knocked out squared. Or someone else knocked him out before we got here. Someone might have used other methods to knock him out. If so, I feel bad for him, Franca nodded. Oh man, both of these churches are so cooked. What are we doing? Oblivious to each other, each group had their way of dealing with the gatekeeper. Wasting no time, they slipped out on the cover of the night. Avenue de Marche, in the dance hall. Louis returned to the cafe upstairs and ordered red wine. Louis came up and whispered, "Boss, some bounty hunters are causing trouble at Saul the Grease Mill, demanding a cut of the profits." With the poison spur mob's upper ranks destroyed, some remnants had been arrested. Some fled and others joined other mobs. Some found legitimate work. The Savoy mob now got the largest share but lacked manpower. Some industries operated fairly and independently. Occasionally, opportunists would try to take advantage of the power vacuum. Lumion cracked his knuckles. Send word asking if they want to be my enemies or my dogs. He realized that after becoming a pyromaniac, he had grown more aggressive, itching for a fight. "Yes, boss," Louis replied eagerly before hurrying down. Lumion had planned to return to the motel to write Madame Magician, but now waited patiently. After more than a half hour, Louis returned, with a man. He appeared to be in his mid-30s, wearing a cheap suit and a black top hat. Lumion, seeing Lumion, the man smiled, doffed his cap and greeted, "Good evening, boss." "Who are you?" "Boss, didn't you ask me to be your dog?" Even the quick-witted Lumion needed a few seconds to respond. After recovering, Lumion just chuckled. "If I told you to be a dog, you'd do it? This is my big chance. I'll believe following you will let me achieve my worth. In time, I could become your godson." "How old are you? You're fawning more than Simon." "Why do you think I'll give you a chance?" The man didn't answer immediately, but glanced at Louis at Sarkota, hinting for them to leave. Unworried, Lumion told them to exit before saying, "Go on." "My name is Lugano Toscano, a Beyonder." "Which pathway? What sequence?" "I'm a planter, sequence 9. The Earth Mother pathway. From Fainapotter?" "No, Restone Province. A few years ago, my friends and I became bounty hunters. I got to know a Fainapotter Beyonder and later acquired his belongings when he died." "A countryman. You kill him or just profit from his death?" Lumion gestured for him to continue. "I can now advance to Sequence 8 Doctor, but lack the funding. I've heard of your exploits, boss. I believe you to be a powerful Beyonder. I know the Savoy mob lacks manpower, so I caused some trouble to meet you. I hope to work for you, manage your estate, and earn money through hard work. Doctors are useful for ordinary people and Beyonders." I mean, the guy's not wrong. Does he know of the other person of the planter pathway? By the he has a similar last name Lee. My goat. Doctor. Lumion recalled the 2 canisters of healing agents they had taken from the poison spur mob. They were quite impressive. Leaning back in his chair, Lumion gazed intently at Lugano. "Saul the Grease Mill isn't my property, I'm just managing it. I'm not sure you can handle it, but I'll give you a chance." "I won't let you down, boss." Lumion recalled his voice to call Louis over. "From now on, you'll be Lugano's deputy at the Grease Mill. Manage it together." Is this for real? Why give an untested recruit such an important post? "You have 2 months. You and your friends will be the dance hall's protectors from now. Take a portion of the profits, negotiate the details with the manager." "Thank you, boss," Lugano said. "Once I'm a doctor, I'll treat any illnesses and injuries you have." He blurted out, but that felt like cursing misfortune upon Lumion, so he shut his mouth. Lugano's fawning and zeal made him suspect ulterior motives, like him with the Baron. But Lumion had cowed the Baron and showed his might and madness. The key was proving the value of exploding him. Lugano was more focused on integration. That's why Lumion had to give him solid grease mill for 2 months, to monitor any abnormalities and quickly deal if the bounty hunter had motives. Either way, it wouldn't cost Lumion a thing. A solid grease mill belonged to the mob, not Lumion. After a while, Lumion left for room 207 at the motel and began writing. Esteemed Madam Magician, I have officially joined the Iron and Blood Cross Order. The initiation ritual was... I'm puzzled. The Order has members clearly not from the Hunter pathway. How did they pass the vigil? Assassins? Or did Martin confirm their trustworthiness in another way? You almost asked about entering 13 Avenue de Marche at special times, but that was surely monitored by official Beyonders. After folding up the letter, Lumion summoned the messenger. Am I still being watched? He asked. No. The doll shook her head. Relieved, Lumion scheduled reporting to Mr. K and heading to the Fool's Cathedral for a sermon. After 15 minutes, Madam Magician replied, I once heard from Mr. Fool's oracle that a friend of his was originally in the Iron and Blood Cross Order, but couldn't stand it and fled to sea. I didn't understand it at first, but now I see. It has been hard on you. It wasn't so bad, Lumion said. When mentioning the oracle, Madam Magician didn't say one of, suspecting Mr. Fool only had one oracle, meaning the major arcana cards of the Divine Council weren't considered oracles. This might be assassin or other corruption method. They might be assassins or other corruption or used other corruption methods. Remind the Two of Cups. If accepting the vigil, bring the ancient underground mirror. Other than keeping in mind not to respond. It's best to bring the mirror that provides entry to the underground mirror world. Hunter and Demoness corruption likely differs. It may help. That mirror. Mulling it over, Lumion swiftly burned the letter. Just as he was about to wash up, a series of knocks came. Who is it? Guess who? A strained voice spoke. Come in, Lumion said. It was Franca and Jenna. Here to play fighting evil, he joked. I don't play cards with losers like you. Having tricked many into drinking excessively over card games recently, Lumion had been winning with the ladies, mocking their poor skills. We're here to borrow mysticism magazines. Nice try. Why come so late for that? Why not just come in the morning? Plus, Jenna doesn't exactly seem the studying type. What's going on here? Are the walls too thin? Could the neighbors overhear us? Franca said. You're learning, thinking about atmosphere, eavesdroppers, not like before, blabbering. Good work. Damn it, we didn't discuss anything important, Jenna said. Why not mention Charlie? He spells secrets. It was fine. Others were asleep or gone. That's why I didn't stop him, Lumion said. Lumion then enveloped the room in a wall of spirituality. A basic wall of spirituality ritual. Once you become a witch, you'll master it quickly, Franca said to Jenna. At this point, she couldn't help but imagine what a witch could do. The two ladies sat by Lumion's bed and discussed. The Deep Valley Cloister Gatekeeper and their findings. What's down there? What should we do? Franca said. Oh, do you have an answer already? Lumion smiled. With Franca's experience, she surely had a plan. Just wanted your thoughts. My thoughts. Sneak in while the monk's away for that 20,000 vril door? Meaning it's too dangerous to investigate? Having heard Lumion's mockery countless times over, Jenna could finally distinguish sarcasm from jokes. Right, Franca said. Recalling the client, there seems to be an internal Deep Valley Cloister conflict. Someone hiding, someone exposing, meddling in the Orthodox Church's affairs. Internal conflict? Jenna was startled. A missing gatekeeper and some person offering 20,000 to find him, even a corpse? Someone clearly needs to see it. But the limbs in the cave, it's too sinister for a church, Jenna said. I skip things all the time. If I read, I like skim over them for myself, and if I don't think they're worth anything, I'll just skip them. Or like I'll paraphrase it into like the shortest way possible. That's why like I trip over words sometimes, because like I'm not only reading what I'm reading, but I'm also reading like 2 steps ahead to see if there's like a shorter way to say it. So like that's why I occasionally will like start tripping up my words because like my brain kind of goes on overload. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Because like I'm reading the next sentence, paraphrasing it, checking chat. Like my whole shit is just cooked all the time. Alrighty, look at that, dude. Like an hour for like 7 chapters. It's gonna go to shit. Just out of work. True. I do be doing that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we end here. Pretty good stream, pretty good and quiet stream, but that's okay. Up on Alien Isolation. Gotta download that shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day or nights. I'll catch y'all tomorrow for another stream. We'll keep going. We'll hit. We'll try to hit. We'll try to do a logger stream tomorrow. Hit chapter 300. Be well on our way. Bye, guys.